Head into our backup match. And let's check this out. We got Alex up top. We've seen a lot of Alex. This was our tournament leader going into the morning up against John. On the bottom here, Orzhov Pixie up against Izzet Powess. Should be a bad matchup for the Izzet decks, right?
This is the nightmare. Yeah, you're playing your way in, and you're playing against a deck that is built to beat you. The Orzhov Pixie deck's claim to fame is it is phenomenal against Izzet Powess. You know, constructed for that sole purpose. It's not great in a lot of the other matchups. There's a lot of pretty polarized matchups and things like Domain. But this is what John came to do, and I'm sure John is very pleased to see one more Izzet opponent in the way of top 8.
Yep. And a discard to hand size? What?
I'm shocked.
Isn't this how we started our day as well?
Yeah.
With Alex with that one lander?
Alex operates on the Seth Manfield School of Mulliganing.
Honestly, I respect it.
Yeah, I mean.
I respect it.
Unfortunately, the Liliana here, super punishing as well.
Oh, God.
You can see a sly smirk on John's face, too.
Yeah.
All right, found the lead. We got a game, folks.
Yeah, no kidding. So there is Corey Steelcutter. And back to what you were saying about Orzhov Pixie. I mean, we saw this at the Pro Tour where Matt Nass won here at this last one. Ben Stark went XO with this Pixie deck. Or X1, I can't remember. But either 9-1 or just straight 10-0 with the deck. And, you know, Izzet Powess wasn't even a deck, but Domain was. He did beat it once, which was kind of cool, but. All right, Shieldred and pass. Now, Alex, got to see what you can do, but, man, it feels like this might be a little too late, though, Jim.
Yeah, I mean, the 1-2 punch in this Pixie deck is a phenomenal temporary lockdown deck. It is a deck that is playing temporary lockdown not only defensively but also offensively.
Yeah.
And then it buoys that with these black creatures that are fantastic, because we've seen from Dimir, Mono Black Demons, Iron Preacher of a Schism, Shieldred, and that 1-2 punch is really the ticket to beating this Izzet deck. You know, put them off their game and then play these things that are very, very hard to deal with in quick succession.
Yep, and that's exactly what John's doing. I mean, got a little help from the discard to hand size for sure.
Yeah, getting a free time walk is good.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
That's some high-level commentary you got there.
Thanks.
We see Sleight of Hand coming down. Let's see if we got second spell. We sure as heck better. I mean, if not, what is going on in that hand from Alex? Here's going to be spell 2, and the monk's going to come out, but, I mean, there's a couple problems. Liliana has to be dealt with at some point. Shieldred is a problem on every battlefield that it comes on. But the one good thing going on from Alex is John does only have 2 cards in hand, so there might have been some mulligans here from John as well.
Yeah, Liliana, of course, eats away at both players' hands.
Yeah.
You know, Liliana is the kind of card that wants to get things to a kind of a null game state. Players don't have cards in hand. What's in play, that is what you have to work with, and, of course, your top decks.
So just a monk coming in at Liliana. Why not the Swift Spear?
All right, so range on Spear would be 2, 3, 4.
Still trade with Shieldred, right?
That's fine, yeah.
So what does this represent if you don't have Rage? Is it just Burst Light? It's Burst Lightning, right? It's got to be.
I mean.
Or Torch the Tower, where if you block, you torch the tower on Shieldred. That's the only thing that would represent to me. And I think that's the red card in hand.
That makes sense, yeah.
I saw Into the Floodmaw as well, so that was a conscious choice where Alex could have dealt with Bounce Shieldred and killed the Liliana here, but decided not to.
So kind of a cute play that Alex could look for is if he can get John empty-handed.
I know what you're picking up and putting down here.
A little Floodmaw in response to the Liliana. Say goodbye to that Shieldred.
Ooh, it'd be like, oh, how many cards in hand? 0? It's about to be 1.
Yep.
All right, there was the Torch Tower. That makes sense as far as that monk. And I think that is, once again, a lesson where that was a very fishy attack. What makes sense? And there was a very small amount of things. So I think deducing that kind of thing, if you're playing in that spot, is an important level-up moment.
This is what we've seen a lot of this tournament too, but it's lockdown plus something else that's good against Izzet is the ticket.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's High Noon, whether it's Shieldred, but you can't play just lockdown. You got to do something else too, and this is a perfect example of that.
Yep. 100% agree. Looks like we have stock up, sleight of hand, and probably a Drake Hatcher in hand from Alex. Sleight of hand, we saw land, and what looked to be a talent. None of that. Kills Shieldred, I'll tell you that. All right, Drake is here.
So that's interesting to play the Hatcher into the Liliana. Where, I mean, John's got, what, 1 card in hand?
Yeah.
Going to 2. You're playing into the Edict. You kind of almost want to try and get John empty-handed if this unsummoned plan works. But now, with an Annex here, too, things are really starting to stack up.
Yeah. Starting to stack up, and Alex is going to try to stock up next turn, but that's just not going to be enough. As Shieldred is just looking far too dominant on this battlefield. Unholy Annex, you also lose the life, but Shieldred regains it.
Yeah, it's like an honorary demon.
Yeah. And to nobody's surprise, Liliana's about to win a game. Reed Duke popped in right to the side here.
It's funny how that works.
It's
weird.
It's Liliana's senses were tingling, that's for sure.
The siren's call.
So now just 1 otter in the way. We know Alex had the stock up, but just stock upping on this battlefield does nothing. Liliana heads to the board along with the otter. And now you get to attack with Shieldred. Sure, there's that into the Floodmaw that can either just bounce Shieldred, or you wait for the Unholy Annex and you bounce the demon. That's what Alex wants to do. But no matter what, however way you slice it, one of those threats will win this game.
Yeah, Shieldred, when you're down on life and down on board, Shieldred closes out the game really fast.
I mean, you could have just left out all those first few words you said. Shieldred just closes out the game very fast and has in Standard for literal years.
Yep. It's a real demoralizing feeling, too, because typically your way out of a bad situation is you draw a few cards, you can fire off some card draw spells and try and find an answer, and it's just every time, ow, 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 I'm dead.
Well, here's into the Floodmaw, not on the Shieldred or the Demon, but we get back the Swift Spear and the Corey Steelcutter. Everything's just delaying the inevitable, right?
This is kind of cute if Alex also has like an Opt, or I guess Opt you'd still lose some life too, but like if you could find a block with a Monk, I
think he has 1 card, and it's the stock up.
All right, yeah, then we're
not stocked up at all.
We're going somewhere.
Yep.
I don't know where we're going, but we're going somewhere.
To game 2, I'll tell you. That's where we're going.
All right, good. That's true.
All right, so Swift Spear blocks. And now the room is unlocked, however way you represent it. Going to end step, Alex is going to lose 2. John is going to gain 4. And then Alex is going to go to 2 in the draw step from Shieldred. And then almost assuredly pack it in.
That fish really turned the tide,
Yep.
A little Nemo there.
Take the fish as a present for the end of game 1.
It's a gift for beating my face into this wooden head. Yeah, I mean, obviously a missed land drop there is a bit of a bummer.
Yeah.
But still, this is a deck poised to beat this Izzet deck. So Alex has a real uphill battle here, and listen, you want to top 8 a tournament, you're going to have these matchups. It just is what it is. You got to pull through.
Absolutely, and we don't know how far Alex mulliganed already, what the scenarios were when you jumped in, so stuff like this can definitely happen. So Alex, our tournament leader at the start of the day, has went 2-3 today, so not a great day, but still has the chance to make the top 8 cleanly. I'll add, this is 7th and 9th place going in. Both breakers are very strong, so I would assume for both players, John does have the lower breakers, but still, clean winning in here. Alex, how we sideboarding?
So I think that the Planeswalkers are pretty good in typical these kind of grindy matchups, but the problem is that it's a 1-2 punch. You got to beat the lockdown stuff, which normally you want like Spell Pierce, the extra Floodmaw, but also knowing that there's Preachers and Shoulders and big demons lying around too. I don't know if a card like Ral is even that exciting where you play a Ral and they play a Shieldred and now you can't really draw off it. You're making these tokens. So Spell Pierce is a card that is – there are a lot of creatures of his Pixie deck, but I think you just need it. I think you want to be able to just tag that lockdown, even tagging in Nowhere to Run. You know, we saw a game earlier in the day where our Pixie player was unable to find the Nowhere to Run against Mono Red. And when you can't find the removal spell or whatever, you know, so you want to keep it off the board. So if you could Spell Pierce and Nowhere to Run, it's a lot better than just stopping a removal spell because you're keeping it off the board so it can't be bounced anymore. So like a Spell Pierces, the Flood Maw's got to come in, I think, against the lockdowns, but you just got to go fast. A lot of these like slower, you know, for the mid-range matchups kind of cards. I don't think it'll be very good here. No,
not really. This is not exactly the matchup that you wanted. And I mean, hey, this is the reason to play Orzhov Pixie. I mean, we have our you know, win percentages here from the last couple events, and yeah, you know, Orzhov Pixie has a pretty strong matchup against Izzet Powess. 58%. 93 and 66. That's pretty strong. Nothing crazy, but that's still pretty impressive here. And then from the Pixie side, what are we sideboarding?
I mean, not too much. You know,
it does seem kind of pre-boarded.
Yeah, you know, I mean, a low rank can come in, try and have more inches to cutter.
Do you like duresses? Are they even needed against, like, because you want duresses, like we saw from our Dimir player earlier, when you cannot deal with Corey Steelcutter. When you're playing a deck that can, do you still bring that in? I don't know.
I would agree strongly that no.
Okay.
You know, there are so many other answers, and if you're scared of counterspells and stuff, but I think John just wants cards that affect the board. You know, just let's kill things, let's play good things. The duress battle is not really an exciting one to play.
Yep. Makes sense to me. So we know our next event was Indy, but the one after that, if you are really interested in Standard and maybe Modern isn't your cup of tea, Orlando is going to be an incredible event. So Orlando will be happening exactly when we will see this gigantic rotation. Final Fantasy plus planetary rotation will be into the mix. Then we'll lose some sets. What do we lose, like 4, right? Or do we lose 5?
I think it's 5.
5. Okay, so we'll be losing 5 of the oldest sets in Standard. No matter what, when you have one set that comes in, 4, 5, 6 that leave, you're going to have a phenomenal Standard tournament where you can pretty much do anything. I mean, you can literally do anything. You can head to space. Where we have not done that very often on a Magic plane. So this will be a Spotlight series, so that is going to be the event. You just show up and play. You know, we're watching a regional championship now for anyone new to the competitive Magic system. You got to qualify to play in these. They are tricky to even get into the door. Spotlight series, no. You just enter the event. You play this gigantic 2-day tournament. You make it to the top 8. You're heading straight to the Pro Tour. And most importantly, you get to play Standard after that rotation, which is always the most fun tournaments to play, to watch. You know, I've been glued to my screen when it comes to Week 1 Standard. And this will be slightly before the Pro Tour as well in Atlanta, which these players are qualifying for as we speak. August 29th through the 31st. Head on over to StarCityGames.com if you're interested in more information on that. Plus Florida, pretty nice.
A format-defining event.
Yes.
You know, you'll bet all the players who are qualified for the Pro Tour will be watching that event with great interest.
Yeah, going to be a ton of fun. Make sure to come on out and join us. A lot more stuff to do than just the event as well. If gigantic tournaments are not your scene, there's always command zones, side event drafts, you know, 5Ks, 10Ks, different formats. You can play some Modern. You can usually play some Legacy, Pauper. There's a pre-Modern event going on right now. Let me tell you, you walk up to a crowd of people that are playing pre-Modern right now. I've never seen more people excited to show me their deck and just are having an absolute blast. So all different kind of events like that, Star City Games always offers. So some cool stuff.
Friend of mine is playing in the pre-Modern event. That's a format that's always interested me, but I've never like found the time or reason to like actually play.
Yep.
But it looks really, really fun, and I'm definitely gonna pop over there after our shift, take a peek. Yeah.
So pre-Modern, they just mean extended, right?
I mean, I don't think folks know what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I qualified for my first Pro Tour, Jim. I played Extended, I played Dredge with Icarid.
Ooh.
And I brought them back from the graveyard and attacked for 9 often.
I played Goblins.
Back in my day. All right, here we go. Game is on. Alex has, well, at least one land. Here's the Storm Chaser's Talent. Otter comes down, and here is Hopeless Nightmare. Looking at a hand of, oh, Jim, I see another land. It's another island, though.
Doing the whole blue-blue thing again?
I think we're doing the whole blue-blue thing here. Alex's draw sponsored by Eiffel 65. I'm glad I made all 4 of you laugh that got that reference.
I mean, it is true in this tournament, if you're green, you will die. So,
yes. All right, so we have Storm Chaser's Talent number 2. I don't think I saw that in the opening hand, so that must have been the top deck. John, it's just like you didn't, right? Okay, land number 2 comes down. All right, so here is a second Concealed Courtyard. Pixie, pick it up, put it down.
All right.
And Spell Pierce to get rid of. You were saying how important this is.
Right, so unfortunately, Nightmare's a little less important than their rule spells are, but you got to stop the engine. You know, if you can leave a Pixie player with, like, you know, a Pixie and a Sun Pearl Kieran in hand and nothing to bounce, that's a great place to be. Definitely.
All right, here is the Corey Steelcutter. I want to say that last card in hand, it looks like one more card in hand from Alex, and that was the Slick Shot Show-Off. So, not great, but at least these can attack. Pretty clear, maybe even just by body language, that there was not another spell. Never mind. Clear by body language and the fact that you have a Corey Steelcutter in play. If you have a second spell, you're going to play it. So that was a very easy block there from John.
That would be a pretty sick bluff.
Would be a sick bluff.
I don't know if it's worth it, but
no,
it'd be cool.
It is not. I can answer that for you right now. It would not be worth it. So basically, we're one lockdown away from this being over. Preacher of the Schism still looks pretty good. Let's see what we can pair with this for Alex with that Slick Shot Show-Off.
Interesting where Alex could have plotted last turn and played Corey this turn to go for the double spell.
Sure.
So, you know, there's an amount of, I think when you're in a bad matchup, you need to plan for what your best draws are. You know, so if Alex feels like, all right, maybe I can, we draw a cantrip next turn, I can go Slick Shot, cantrip, token, and kind of have like a really big turn.
Yeah.
But recently, you know, so far, only one mountain to climb here with this Preacher, but that's a good place to start.
The other cost for that was the Otters couldn't get in. I don't even know how much that matters. You know, as I say that, I'm not sure Alex has another card in hand, so it might have been a Slick Shot or a Corey instead of a Slick Shot there.
That makes more sense. Oh, boy.
Either way, if it's a Slick Shot or if there's no cards in hand, Alex is in a rough spot right now.
Now, there is a buyout here for Alex, of course. Into the Flood Maw being absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
The quality of cards under the lockdown really changes what that, you know, future turn could look like.
Yeah.
Double Cutter and 2 Otters is an army at the end step.
Yeah.
To the point where you could even see end step, Flood Maw your lockdown, opt, make 2 tokens, untap, spell, 2 tokens, and attack for $1 million.
Yeah.
So it's a very good lockdown, but it's also a dangerous one.
100%. But when your opponent was hellbent, I'm going to play it. That's for sure.
not saying you shouldn't play it.
Yeah,
I'm just saying,
yeah.
like, you know, it looks like a knockout blow, but there is an inherent amount of risk here on John's side.
So, looks like this was an attack, and Alex took a pain to just be at a lower life. It looked like to avoid the dream, quote-unquote, of Preacher when you get both of them. You get the vampire and the life. So, Alex said, I'll lose a life, keep a vampire off your battlefield, and small victories, but hey, here we are. Second Preacher comes down. John is taking Alex to church.
Yeah. Say a prayer.
Yep. This Slick Shot has to be incredible. And the thing is, just into the Flood Maw is not enough. When you're hellbent, you need, like, stock up into Sago, end step, you know, into the Flood Maw, something like that. But we'll see what this is. 2 mana, nothing for 2 mana is that good. In this series, I mean, phenomenal card, of course, but not looking great here. You can play it, you can equip it, you can attack for 4. But John does not look like a human being that is scared. Might even have a removal spell for this. as Alex goes to equip.
Yeah, looks pretty nonplussed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to involve Flood Maw and some sequence of, like you're saying, we got to stock up and, get multiple things going here. I mean, it is a lot of Steel Cutters.
Yeah.
But Lifelink chipping away. John's also produced a good blocker every turn.
Yep.
So, all right, go for the equip, but
4. Down to 10. 10 to 9. Now these preach. Oh my goodness. So plays that. That's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's lethal with the creature land. This is going to be John Schildendecker. Excuse me if I butcher your name, John. Heading to the top 8, almost assuredly. And that is another Izzet Powess list that not only fell, but another anti-prowess deck making it to the top 8. And that is 2 Orzhov decks already in. Very different Orzhov decks, John, but 2 Orzhov decks nonetheless.
Yeah.